The Netflix show Adolescence has blown up, and I thought it might be interesting to try and explain the sentence that Jamie Miller might have received under UK law. These are the facts of the case. CCTV footage showed that 13-year-old Jamie Miller stabbed a girl in his school 7 times, causing her to die. Turning now to the sentence. In the UK, there is a mandatory life sentence for murder. For under 18s, this is called detention at His Majesty's pleasure. The judge's job is to set the minimum term they will spend in prison, otherwise known as the tariff. This is the least time the defendant will spend in custody before being eligible for parole. Even once eligible, the parole board will only approve their release when they're no longer deemed to be a risk to the public. In setting the minimum term, the judge would turn to the guidance laid out in Schedule 21 of the Sentencing Act 2020. This case would likely fall into paragraph 4, subparagraph 1, as the defendant took a knife and committed the murder with that knife. This means when you look at the table and apply the defendant's age of 13, you arrive at a starting point of 13 years custody. The judge would then take this starting point and apply the aggravating factors, things that make the offence more serious, and the mitigating factors, the things that make the offence less serious. Some of the aggravating factors might include the following: multiple stab wounds on the victim, and the misogynistic or hateful element of the murder. Mitigating factors might include the following: Jamie has no previous convictions. Jamie is a particularly young and immature offender. The show alludes to the fact that Jamie has deep underlying mental health issues owing to the long and turbulent interaction with the psychologist in episode 3. After his conviction, there would no doubt be expert psychiatrist reports and a pre-sentence report available for the judge, but we do not have the luxury of that here. It's difficult to say exactly what term Jamie would get. However, he would be sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of somewhere between 13 and 14 years, in my opinion. As Jamie was under 18 at the time he committed the murder, he would be eligible for a minimum term review halfway through serving his minimum term. This means that if he was sentenced to a minimum term of 13 years, 6.5 years into that term, he can apply to the High Court and ask for a reduction of his minimum term if he's shown exceptional progress in prison. If successful, this reduction is normally anywhere between a few months up to a few years in the most exceptional cases. Hopefully this explains the sentence that Jamie Miller might have received under UK law.